everybody. Welcome back to Women Like Us Mentors. And I've always said you can learn from different perspectives, and that different diversity of perspectives has to come from different people around the world. And so I have with us today Kiana from Kauai, Hawaii. Aloha.
Aloha.
Today, what I wanted to do is to have a really passionate topic that I have, which is continuous learning. Kiana, one of the things that I wanted to do is, first of all, have you introduce and how you kind of motivated yourself and what your leadership mantra is in terms of getting beyond the nervousness of transitioning and pivoting and learning something new, right? Because there's a little bit of the nervousness and the syndrome of, can I do this?
Sure. I'd love to share. My name is Kiana. I live on the beautiful island of Kauai. I feel so blessed to wake up every morning and realize that I am living on such a sacred place in the entire world. Living on Kauai really, I feel like grounds me. I feel like it's a very healing place. I was born on Maui, and they do say Maui no Ko'oi, which means Maui is the best. But I do have a very strong connection to this island. It's where I call home, truly. Okay, so what I do now is I share my culture for a living, and it's a true blessing that I'm able to do that. I went to the University of Hawaii on Oahu, which is like our city island, for many years. And I did love it. And that's where I first started dancing hula and learning, really getting into my culture on the side of going to school. It was really what grounded me while I was running the rat race. You know, every day I could come back to my hula and my culture and just kind of ground myself. So I feel, yeah, just to indulge in that is a real grounding thing for me. And it's what I do now here on Kauai. I share my culture through lei making and through hula lessons. What's great about that is that it pulls people to me who really want to learn about true Hawaii. Lots of people come to the islands and they're like, wow, it's great, but don't really think twice about the people that live here and have made Hawaii what it is today. So I feel like I pull in the best of the best when it comes to the tourists that come here. Esther is exactly that kind of person who came to me. I initially was very, very interested in medicine. On Oahu, I was working towards getting into medical school, and I eventually did. And it was just my mental health at the time was really not what it needed to be in order to succeed. And I didn't know that. I had no idea. I was kind of just white knuckle trying to push through as easily as I hit it. My mental illnesses and my anxieties, it caught up with me. And at that point, I just couldn't perform anymore. So I went back to my culture and I started doing the things that filled my love cup. And then I became a mother. And that was the hugest game changer of my life. I did have these traumas as a child. I wasn't really given the entire idea of what a complete family unit looked like and behaved. So I was choosing outside of that realm. So when I became a mother, it really came to surface the fact that I wasn't choosing the right partner. And so I came to Kauai, the healing island. It embraced me and my daughter, and we're kind of just on a launch pad on a very positive trajectory. But I wanted to know, how do I create a future for my child as a single mother that helps her be the best she can be? I wanted to create a future for her that was so much more than I had experienced personally. And so I just really got into it. I started reading book after book on how to rear a child, a happy child, a confident child. And it all brought me back to marriage and family therapy, which is what the authors of these books were primarily MFTs. So I thought, okay, these guys have the answers, they have the tools. So marriage and family therapists. And these folks seem to have the answer on how to raise confident, happy children. Because I was starting kind of at a deficit as a single mother. I was just soaking up all this knowledge, and it just kind of came to light that this was, I was already learning and seeking the knowledge of an MFT in training. So I said, okay, why not make it my own? And so that's when I enrolled in 2021 during the pandemic. So I wasn't lay making or teaching hula lessons. So I figured now is the time. And it's been an incredible journey. It's been a healing journey. In every aspect of it. So investing in my future. I'm investing in the future of my child. Switching gears and going from physical health to mental health was a huge change. I didn't even realize at the time when I was studying in medical school how important our mental health truly, truly is. We were so focused on the physical. And now that I realize that it really starts with the mental health, and it just kind of radiates from there. Your physical health will follow if your mental health is intact.
I love what you said, Kiana. Earlier on, you used the term love cup. And I wanted to ask you, your original, and you're consistent in that you still have the love for your culture, and you're embedding that with where you and I met, which is you were my hula instructor in the self-reflection trip that I take once a year for me, that I take on an annual pilgrimage. And I change up the locations, but I always come back to Kauai, and I always say, God lives in Kauai. You have to go there. And so I wanted to ask you, that love cup, how does that maintain when you transition into this new trajectory of wanting to help others? And how do you keep consistency of that love cup in your current journey? And does that exist there as well?
Absolutely. So I feel, like I said, so blessed to be enjoying my job as much as I do as a cultural practitioner at the hotels and working with the guests. And part of being an MFT, though, is burnout. That's a huge sacrifice that these folks will endure and have to deal with in order to help others. It's a very giving field. Well, in Hawaii, we call it mana. We call this life force mana. And with that kind of always being rejuvenated, I knew that I'd be able to give back. I've learned more and more that mental health is something that is easily overlooked, and we have extremely high suicide rates here, and families are often broken families. And it's a huge calling. It's a huge need. So I knew that if I was fulfilled enough internally, that I would be able to give back. And what better way to serve and to love on others than by helping them with their mental health, by helping them build strong foundations, strong families, and kids that are happy, healthy, and resilient. We're asked to love on each other. Of course, love the Lord our God with all our mind, strength, soul, and mind, but to love thy neighbor. And to do that, we need to know how to build strong relationships. And that's not an easy thing to do. But MFTs, that's exactly their central focus, is building strong, healthy relationships. And just seeing people thrive in that way who have come through me, I just can't even imagine how fulfilling it's going to be. Yes, difficult. Yes, trying. And can weigh on you. Secondary trauma is a huge thing that MFTs have to deal with, but something I think that I'll be able to handle because I'm grounded in my culture and my love for people, truly.
Looking back on everything you have said, I believe that first element of how do you make the decision to pivot, you had mentioned two things. One is your daughter, and you wanted to give her the opportunity and the experience to see from yourself as a role model for your own daughter what potentially can be the truth for her. What are the opportunities that you can also manifest in your daughter by taking a retrospect understanding of your own culture, being able to thrive in giving back your culture through the means of entertainment or through your current work as a hula instructor and lei making instructor, but also be able to make that pivot to the point where you're giving her an opportunity to see what it could potentially do for the greater community. That give back, right? Of how you can take the pains of the community that is very evident in the islands of Hawaii, in the mental health situation, and taking your aspirations and goals for MFT and being able to apply it, not just for monetary and financial reasons that you want to give a safety haven for your daughter, but really to give back to the community. And that, I believe, is the aha moment where I wanted the people in the audience to really understand, and my mentees to understand, it doesn't have to be a pivot that is enforced and motivated by money.
Right. If it was monetarily focused, it would not be MFT. So my daughter, she's 3. She's a mighty 3, and she loves to come to work with me. So she'll now take the front row in hula class. She'll at lei making help me hand out the materials for the leis, and I think just by being an example, just by doing what I naturally do, she is inspired. Like now, every day she wants to come with me to work, and I think I'm not going to have to work hard to inspire her. I feel like just by doing what I do naturally, she already wants to be like mommy. And truly, when I do I feel great about myself and what I give to people, but it's when they make their comments like so intentionally that I'm really blown away about how I touch other people's lives just by sharing my culture.
As for the people who may want to make that trek to Kauai and find Kiana there, we'll leave you her business information for contact. And the reason why I had that tug and the pull to keep contact with them. And now they're also giving back through this mentorship program that we have on this platform. So thank you for that. I wanted to jump over to the second question, which is really, Kiana, if you were to net out what your mantra is for continuous learning, what would you say that is?
I think it's important to stay humble. Part of Hawaiian thinking is to show humility to those around you, and to know that you don't always have the answers. So it truly does take a village to raise a child, and we're all, learning as we grow. Hopefully, it's not a sprint. You're not going to learn everything overnight. It's really a marathon. So just enjoy the journey and stay
Love that.
grateful.
I like the fact that you were saying that your mantra is looking beyond the now, and that marathon analogy of looking at the end state. And it doesn't have to be that you feel like you're achieving something at that moment, but just as long as you have an eye towards the end goal and the North Star, as I like to call it. That kind of segues to my third question, which is, how do you really overcome your nervousness when things get hard? Because sometimes as a single mom, you do realize that you're taking on a lot, and not only are you juggling your momship, but you're also doing your part-time role as a cultural expert and giving back in the hotel, entertainment, and arts business. And then you're taking on this great load of finishing off your certification in the quote unquote spare times that I'm sure aren't really spare, but you would have to make for yourself to be able to get to that end state. And so, how do you get over the syndrome of, that demon inside everybody that says you can't do it, and why don't you quit, and can you really get this done? And a lot of the up and coming students that are getting into their careers and going to be the next generation leaders are fighting that today. Kind of what you do to heal yourself out of that moment and those challenges, and get beyond that and keep going.
In Hawaiian thinking, there's 3 centers to every person, and the top center is 6 inches above your head, and that's where your ancestors sit, and that's where you can call on that mana, call on that spiritual energy and power from your ancestors. It's kind of like your guardian angels, I'd say. And of course, the Lord in prayer, and that always keeps me grounded, especially in nervousness, because my anxiety was really intense for most of my life, and I didn't even realize I was walking in this state of alertness and heightened, and it wasn't really healthy for my body. You don't want to bite off too much, but you do want to challenge yourself. Today is one piece of the big picture. And if I could go back to my younger self, I would really reiterate that, because it just felt like so much pressure to really go to the stars from the beginning. But truly, you have to just be patient with yourself, love on yourself, find out what really talks to you, what really fills your love cup, and yeah, just invest in that.
Thank you so much, Kiana. And here's the segment. We'll end off the segment with what we call a gotcha question. And it's one that we don't give our panelists ahead in advance. And I wanted to give you some time to think about it, but also be able to get that genuine response. And what I'll frame this up as is a question that asks, if, Kiana, you have a secret recipe, and that secret recipe says, here's kind of the ideal element to why you've been successful and how you have become yourself. What is that secret sauce of Kiana that allows you to have gone through the adversity to be able to take on the current challenges and then be able to move forward? And you talked a little bit about that in how you get beyond some of the nervousness and challenging moments, but what is that secret sauce in that recipe?
Such a great question, Esther. I love it. When I was young, I didn't truly know myself or really love myself. Now it's my priority to know what I need to be happy. I feel like my secret ingredient would just be self-love. Self-love.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. But this is the great thing about the Women Like Us platform. I know that all of the watchers out there and the viewers really appreciate that diverse perspective, and it can't be just about my perspective. Kiana, I so love your mantra. I so love your spirit. I so love the give back, because that is a big part of this platform, and the objective is that a lot of our speakers and panelists do that give back naturally. And so with that, I wanted to again thank you for your time, the fact that you took away some time from your daughter, and then being able to carve out this time to mentor those who are behind us and learning from our experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha, friend.